Hello and welcome to Everything's Fine Probably, your weekly antidote to bad news. I'm Jim. I'm joined, as I so often am, by Stu and by Gemma. How are we this week, pal?
Really good.
Really good?
Yeah. Just we're all about positive news on here, aren't we?
We are, and actually I saw a bit of positive news on your phone when you came in.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to break it. Mrs. Brown's Boys has been cancelled for 2026 and will no longer air Christmas or New Year.
Well, that's my Christmas has just improved a huge amount. So thank you to
Brendan
for that. I mean, it is a bit unfortunate for the guy. Obviously, I wouldn't wish.
No, I don't want to wish
on
anything
anyone.
bad, but I think we stop the podcast here, don't we?
Oh, can we top that? Can we top it?
It's going to be hard. You tell us, Jim.
Well, we have got some little treats coming up. I've got to start because actually this week has been a little bit of a disappointment for me.
Oh, dear.
Obviously, last week we had the pleasure of talking to Dom Johnny, and we spent quite a bit of time discussing the strange, ridiculous, and occasionally wonderful things that humans get up to. We hoped maybe Count Binface might pull off the upset. Maybe we'd get a really close result. Maybe, just maybe, Clacton would decide that the man in a silver dustbin was a convincing alternative to Nigel Farage. But no, Nigel won comfortably. Farage got 22,239 votes, taking 63.34% of the vote. Count Binface came second with 9,455, which was 26.93%. So it's nearly 27%.
That is absolutely incredible.
I mean, a man wearing a dustbin on his head got more than 1 in 4 votes in an election where the other major parties didn't bother standing.
I think that's an amazing win. That's the way Count Binface's got to look at it. He's made Nigel Farage look stupid. No matter what happens.
He didn't do nearly that well against Andy Burnham, did he?
Absolutely. So whatever happens, Farage will only have ever beaten a bin.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it felt like a bit of a cry for help from the British electoral system. The rhetoric from Reform's campaign machine was that this by-election was all about Nigel versus something called the establishment, whoever and whatever they might be. All we know for sure is that Nigel Farage isn't part of the establishment. In fact, he's very, very against it. So I thought it might be helpful to our listeners, and indeed to ourselves, to look at a few facts and try and work this out for ourselves. If there are Reform supporters listening, and I very much doubt it, but then this bit, it's not going to interest you because we're looking at facts, and I appreciate you find them highly inconvenient. So maybe we'll see you on the other side.
Not alternative facts.
I mean, there is no such thing, is there?
What about post-truth?
What about it, Stu? It's all just another word for lie. Anyway, to make it a bit more fun, I've decided to put this into a quiz because I know you guys love a quiz.
Love a quiz.
So, Stu, Gemma, fingers on buzzers.
Really?
Why not?
Are we up against each other?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Have you even got a buzzer? What's this, Gemma? I haven't got a buzzer.
I was going to ask you that. I don't have a buzzer. No one told me I needed a buzzer.
God's sake. Well, just make a buzzer.
Can't we collaborate?
Oh, if you...
You can't have a quiz and then say there's buzzers and then not supply the buzzers.
I told you bring your buzzer. Did you look at the bring the buzzer email?
I didn't see the bring the buzzer email.
Ridiculous.
I think you forgot.
Question number 1.
Okay.
In our anti-establishment Farage quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Something for all you people who hitchhike a lot. This one we call anti-establishment man. How long did Nigel Farage spend as a member of the European Parliament?
Okay.
Was it A, about 6 months, B, about 5 years, C, 21 years, or D, don't be ridiculous, he's always been an outsider.
Okay.
He has, hasn't he?
Yeah, so definitely more than 6 months. Definitely more than 6 months.
Yeah.
I think...
Because he didn't rock up, did he, quite a lot of the time, though?
That's correct. That's
something traditionally he's kept up as MP for Clacton.
Yeah. I'm not so sure... It was 21 years. My feeling's 5, but he might well have done 21. But what's your thoughts? Should we go
I'm
for
thinking
5?
5 sounds reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, 5 years.
And the answer is 21.
Whoa!
Which was an MEP from
No.
1999 until Brexit in 2020. That's 21 years inside one of the major political institutions, and he spent much of his career attacking it. I mean, it's not exactly Che Guevara hiding in the mountain.
Obviously, you'll get an annual salary.
Absolutely.
And with that, you'll get a pension, right?
An immense pension, I would imagine.
So, obviously, as he is an outsider and anti-establishment, anti-EU, surely he won't be cashing that pension.
Well, you would hope not, being a principled man of the people that he is. Question number 2. What did Nigel Farage do before becoming a professional politician?
Okay.
Would you like options?
I do know this one, actually.
Then, Gemma, would you like options?
You have a go at this one, Gemma.
Did he A, work in a food bank, B, drive a bus, C, work as a commodities trader in the city, or D, live off-grid in a converted canal boat?
Now,
do you think he drove a bus?
No, I don't think he drove a bus.
Okay.
Should I be thinking that he drove a bus?
I can't.
It would seem unlikely.
I mean, I can't see it.
I can't imagine him driving a bus. I can't imagine him doing any of those apart from commodities.
Commodities trader in the city? It is.
I concur, yes.
It is. He was a city trader. So the great anti-establishment revolutionary began his career in the financial establishment. Lovely. Question 3. How many times, and there's no options this time, just want you to have a guess, how many times did Nigel Farage stand for Parliament before he finally became an MP?
All right, should we have a guess each, Gemma?
A goal now.
I'm going to go for 4.
I'm saying 7.
7 is correct, Gemma. 7 unsuccessful attempts.
Brilliant.
If I'd lost 7 parliamentary elections, I'd probably start wondering whether the universe was trying to tell me something. But not Nige. Then he left Parliament, then he came back, then he resigned, then he triggered a by-election so he could get back in again. I mean, it's less smash the establishment and more, could you just let me back in through the revolving door? Question number 4. Who actually demanded the Clacton by-election? Was it A, Labour, B, the Conservatives, C, the Lib Dems, D, the Greens, or E, Nigel Farage?
Well, it was Nigel, because he wanted the people of Clacton to decide whether his £5 million was dodgy. It's not quite up to the people of Clacton, but that's kind of how he wanted to frame it. That's my understanding of how that played out.
Yeah, Gemma, you're nodding as well. I mean, that is pretty accurate. But it brings me back to our old friend and waste of the Earth's natural resources, Robert Jenrick.
Robert Jenrick.
Now, we've talked about Robert Jenrick before, of course. Now, during the row over the by-election, Jenrick popped up on our TV screens claiming that the other parties had been demanding the by-election. That's why it was called.
Oh.
This was, of course, a lie. Let's all remember that Reform's version of events requires a fact-checking service. We've had some other belters, such as the claims that were published in Reform's campaign material, claiming that 380 illegal boat migrants lived in the Makerfield constituency, and that 350 illegal boat migrants lived in Gorton and Denton, neither of which were based on official figures. Reform's favourite unit of measurement appears to be a number of illegal immigrants that sounds alarming. Then there was the council tax reductions. Richard Tice claimed that his party's councils had cut council tax by 45 million. What was wrong with that claim?
Well, I'm guessing they hadn't.
Well, it was certainly seriously misleading. They didn't, you're quite right, cut council tax. They increased it, but by less than the maximum they could have increased it by, and then calculated the difference as a saving.
That sounds kind of fraudulent to me.
Well, I hesitate to use the word, but...
Can I just say about Richard Tice? He said today in an article that we should stop worrying about climate change and the fact it's got really hot and obviously the country's on fire and old people are dying and people with underlying health conditions are struggling, because on the upside we can produce our own English wine. Yeah. So why not enjoy the summer, stop moaning, and just have a few bubbles?
There you go. Millionaires drinking wine won the worlds. Good. And then, of course, there was Nigel Farage's English language claim from February. Do you remember this one?
I don't know.
It's a good one. So Nigel Farage said that 1 million people in Britain speak no English whatsoever.
Oh.
Now, the census actually recorded 161,000 people in England and Wales. Now, any idea how he got to 1 million?
Did he kind of move the decimal point?
He didn't do that. No, what he cannily did, or hugely dishonestly did, was that he added together two completely different census categories. The 161,000 people who said they couldn't speak English at all, and the further 880,000 who said they could not speak English well. And that is hugely different. Full Fact investigated this, and they have put Farage on its list of MPs who have not corrected the record after being told their claim was inaccurate. All well and good, you might say. What has this got to do with the by-election? Well, actually, it does have things to do with it because Nigel Farage didn't turn up to the count. You might know this on the night.
What did you call him?
Nigel Farage didn't turn up to the count on the night because he claimed that Essex police had advised him there was an organised attempt to disrupt and degrade the result. But Essex police said it hadn't advised any candidate not to attend the count. So Nigel Farage, who's not afraid of the establishment, apparently couldn't face a room full of election officials and can't bin face. Or maybe he doesn't know where Clacton is, so he's never bloody.
What he did say after he changed it, he said, actually, it was because why should I share a stage with a bunch of losers? That was his actual change of story.
He also said that there were people planning to embarrass him.
That's
he's
right.
quite capable of embarrassing himself.
Absolutely. I quite liked the next day they had Lee Anderson on the radio having an interview, and they were talking about the election result, and he was just so angry. And the interviewer just said, "You won. Why are you so angry? And why are Reform so angry?" But they were blaming the BBC making this story up about Essex police and the media, and there's a witch hunt. But I think we talked previously on these shows, hasn't he appeared on Question Time more than any other guest?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a bit like having your cake and eat it almost, isn't it?
In fact, he's only actually been an MP for a very, very small amount of time.
And then he quit.
Yes. And now he's won again. Well, until this investigation's finished.
So the investigation carries on.
It does. Well, we'll come on to
that.
Oh,
we're coming on to that. Yes, of course.
Because that's the very next question concerns this. Question 5. What happened to the parliamentary investigation into Farage's 5 million gift after he won the by-election? Did A, disappear, B, get shredded, C, move to Belgium, or D, resume?
Unfortunately for Nigel, it resumes.
Yes. Because apparently reality is refusing to cooperate with his storyline. Brings us to our final question, and I think this one is probably the easiest one you're going to face. After everything we've just established, is Nigel Farage actually anti-establishment?
Well, based on what you just said, and obviously based on the fact that he was gifted £5 million, obviously before he was an MP, let's get that out there. The fact that you said he was in the EU Parliament for 21 years.
A former city trader, 21 years in the EU.
Former city trader.
He's a serving MP, leads a political party. He's got wealthy donors.
I feel...
He triggered an election. He got us to pay for it, for the
Yeah. It feels part of the establishment to me. What do you think, Gemma? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
It feels, doesn't it? It feels like he's very much part of the establishment.
What I would say to Nigel Farage, if it were me, is, dickhead, you are the establishment. So the estimated cost to us, by the way, the taxpayers, is around £275,000. And before anyone says, but Reform offered to pay for it, yeah, they did, but that's not how it works. Political parties can't just rock up with a cheque and buy themselves a by-election. It's got to be run through the proper public system. So the man of the people triggered a by-election, got the taxpayer to spend roughly 275 grand on it, won it, and the parliamentary investigation over the 5 million gift resumed anyway. So that 275,000 quid, that was enough to employ several nurses or teaching assistants for a year, or provide substantial funding for youth services, mental health support, libraries, community projects. So, yeah, that amount is not nothing. And we spent it because one man decided to resign from a job he already had, then stand for the same job again, so he could claim that the people wanted him back, and in the process get another election behind him while the parliamentary questions about the £5 million remain unresolved. What a massive, narcissistic bell end. Oh, and a special thank you to the 22,239 people who voted for him. You've now given Nigel Farage another job and given the rest of us another 4 years of Nigel Farage on the television. So thanks for that. We really appreciate it. You're the gift that keeps on giving.
Something for all you people who hitchhike a lot. This one we call anti-establishment man.
Let's move on from one bunch of spineless creepy crawlies to another.
Yeah, I thought you'd all quite like to know about the 2026 Invertebrate of the Year nominee list.
Would I?
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
What is this?
well, so this is in The Guardian, and we're now down to the final 10. So all the nominees are in, voted for by The Guardian readers. And then next week, obviously we've shortlisted to 10. Next week, I'll be able to tell you who is the winner.
Oh my God.
But
Is there a glitzy party? An ugly bug ball?
well, if there isn't, there should be, shouldn't there? So what I thought would be quite interesting, and I know you'd probably enjoy this, is if we ever look at the top 10 nominees of Invertebrates of the Year.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
2020. So as they say, grab your magnifying glasses and let's meet the contenders.
They haven't got a magnifying glass.
Did you not? Did you not with the buzzer? Who was meant to sort out the props tonight? Whose job was this? Was this you, Gemma?
I mean, probably.
I think we've just established the problem. It was nobody's job to sort out the props,
Yeah.
and therefore we don't have any.
Okay. Well, you don't need a magnifying glass because I'm not going to actually show you any pictures.
Oh,
I'll just talk to you about them. But I can. I will share the pictures.
well, share them after on the socials.
Okay.
But okay, just talk us through it for now.
So number one is so I'll tell you the Latin name and you can try and work out what they're colloquially known as. So number one, Anoscus ocellus. Do we know what that is in the invertebrate world?
Is it a caterpillar?
No, this is the common woodlouse. So this is number one nominee with a delightful vernacular name. If you've judged by nicknames alone, this humble backyard buddy would rule them all. So number one, the common wood louse. Next up, Turritopus dorni.
Is it a caterpillar?
You can't just say caterpillar
Well,
for
what might
everything.
be?
More commonly known as the immortal jellyfish. I mean, that sounds like a great superhero name, doesn't it? So who needs sci-fi gods when you have a creature that has literally hacked the biological cheat code for internal life? The immortal jellyfish, I mean, we've only done two, but that's my favourite.
Sorry, woodlouse. It's winning for me.
Next up, Costacella koreshami. Do we know what that's known as? Gemma,
Starfish?
What, sorry?
Is it a starfish?
Jim,
Caterpillar?
it's not a caterpillar. So this little beauty.
Just check. Already of some caterpillars.
We'll see, won't we? We'll see, won't we? So this common nickname for this one is called the leaf sheep. All right. So this is a tiny sea slug packing serious beauty with big brains and a wonderful, innovative lifestyle that looks like it stepped right out of an anime. So that was me in the style of judging a Miss World competition. I mean,
It's very Shatner. I liked it.
that's one for the teenagers there. Miss World, did you used to watch that, Gemma, back in the day?
No.
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 Donald Trump was once a judge in a beauty pageant in the
Surely
US.
not.
Miss World. He was a judge on Miss World many years ago. Who knew?
And did he behave himself?
Number 4, Seleucia australis. Do we know that one?
Is it an Australian caterpillar?
Oh, well, Jim, it really isn't. This is called the greengrocer cicada. Yeah, so no, not a caterpillar.
Yeah.
Number 5, I'm just going to tell you this one.
Oh.
The Lord Howe Island stick insect. This is an absolute giant amongst bugs. This legendary survivalist has laughed in the face of extinction and everything humans has thrown at its way. So the Lord Howe Island stick insect, I think that's also up there as well. That's certainly got my vote. Next up, we're on to Pantella flavescens, Jim.
Caterpillar.
This is called, more commonly, the Wandering Glider. This is the ultimate globe-trotting superstar whose epic life spans entire continents. On wings of pure wanderlust. That sounds good, doesn't it, Gemma?
It does.
Yeah, I mean,
very much so.
Gemma's face, she's lapping this up. You look absolutely into this. would you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Next up. Now, come on. Concentrate.
Okay.
Magnifying glasses. Bombus Dalbomi. Now, what could that be? Come on. Yeah, Gemma? Bombus Dalbomi.
Bombus.
No.
Oh, caterpillar.
Spider?
Gemma? No, bumblebee. Bombus
Oh.
Dalbomi. This is the Muscardine bumblebee. This one is furry and oversized. A buzzing beauty. The giant panda of the insect realm. What do you think to that one?
So, in what way is it like a giant panda?
Because it's black and white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's gloriously furry and it's a buzzing beauty. What do you think to that?
This is very exciting.
Right. Now then, Gemma, come on. Here we go. You get this one. Number 8. Linnaeus longissimus. What could that be?
Daddy
Just-
Longlegs.
Yeah, I like your thinking. What? Because the longissimus.
Yeah.
All right. I like your thinking. So keep on that frame.
I'm thinking with the length,
Yes.
some sort of giant
Yes.
caterpillar. No, Jessica. Is it some sort of giant worm?
It's a worm. It's a bootlace worm.
Oh,
So
well done, Jim.
Yeah. So unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. This is the stuff of nightmares for some. An absolute invertebrate dream for the rest of us. The bootlace worm. So let's go. Number 9, shall we? Now, Carnocopius rotundicoda. What's this?
To say that again?
Carnocopius rotundicoda. Now then, invertebrates. Bearing in mind, they're not just land, are they? What could this be?
Is it some sort of sea snail?
It's a good call. It's not. It's the horseshoe crab. This is a true living fossil holding court. These majestic blue-blooded armor-clad wonders actually predate the dinosaurs. Ultimate survivors. And here we go. This is the 10th nominee. So next week we'll be bringing you the winner. So we've got that to look forward to.
I can imagine how gripped everyone will be.
Absolutely. So if that doesn't get the listeners up this week and for next, then here we go. Here's number 10. This one is Amastraphus bartolomei. This is the neon flying squid, blending high-speed ocean acrobatics with the ability to launch themselves into the air for several meters. These creatures are the jet fighters of the blue sea. Join us next week where I will announce the winner of 2026 Invertebrate of the Year.
I have questions.
Fire away, Gemma.
I mean, I have one question. How long has this beautiful competition been going on
I think
for?
this is the inaugural competition. I think it's the first year they've ever done this.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's a celebration of invertebrates. Guardian readers are well up for this, and I think people are voting this week in their tens.
Good. Well, let's stick with mini beast stories for the moment, shall we? Next up is one of those stories where the headline sounds like someone's been smoking something in the science lab. Stubborn plastics have been turned into bug food.
Nice link.
Yeah, it raises some
Nice link.
Raises several questions for me. Firstly, what bugs? Secondly, why are we feeding them plastic?
It says caterpillars.
And third, it's not caterpillars. And thirdly, at what point did we decide that the future of recycling was basically putting a crisp packet in the garden and hoping that caterpillars sorted it all out? Well, look, actually, there's some really interesting science behind this. So researchers have found that two of the most common and troublesome plastics, polyethylene and polypropylene, can be broken down into something that naturally occurring microbes in soil can consume. So polyethylene is the stuff you'll find in loads of packaging and everyday plastic products. Polypropylene is used for things like bottle caps, food containers, straws, car parts, all of those other things. And they're incredibly useful because they're incredibly difficult to break down. But that also makes them a nightmare once they escape into the environment. They can hang around for decades, sometimes centuries, like Nigel Farage. And like Nigel Farage, it seems that plastic is going to be a problem for a very long time. But a British company called Polymateria have developed an additive, and it's put into the plastic while it's being manufactured. It's called Biotransformation Master Batch. And after the plastic's been exposed to enough weathering from the environment, the additive helps break it down into much simpler wax-like material, and that's where the bugs come in. Soil microbes can then consume the material. So researchers from Polymateria, Imperial College London, and Malaysia's Standards and Testing Organisation SIRIM tested the process and treated samples of polyethylene and polypropylene, biodegraded by 90% more over 9 to 10 months. Conventional polypropylene tested alongside them didn't, which is quite remarkable. Also carried out ectotoxicity testing using earthworms, plants, and aquatic organisms. So didn't find any adverse effects in those tests. Have we finally taught plastic how to die? Well, we've certainly taught it how to become compost. It's quite an achievement when you think about it. Yeah. For decades, we've been trying to work out how to stop plastic getting into the environment. But actually, what if we make the plastic biodegradable before we make it?
Yeah, but
and this is important. Don't get carried away. It's not a magic wand for plastic pollution. The research was carried out partly by the company that developed the technology, and the tests were conducted under controlled laboratory conditions. Doesn't make them wrong, but it does mean we need more independent research and real-world testing before we start declaring plastic pollution solved. And there's another obvious question. What happens to the plastic before it gets to the point where it breaks down? Because we don't want manufacturers thinking, brilliant, we can make as much disposable plastic as we like now because the worms will deal with it. That's not the lesson. The lesson is potentially that for some products where plastic's difficult to collect, recycle or recover, there might be a way of making the material itself less persistent if it escapes into the environment. And that is genuinely useful. The researchers say the treated plastics have already started being used commercially, including in products in UK stadiums, while hundreds of brands across Asia are adopting the technology. So it's not just happening in a lab somewhere, it's beginning to make its way in the real world. And I rather like the fact it's not particularly glamorous. There's no giant machines sucking plastic out the oceans or robots the size of skyscrapers. There's no billionaire standing on a stage saying he's going to save the planet, not that billionaires ever do. It's just an additive that you put into plastic when you make it, and eventually nature gets to eat the leftovers, which means we may finally have found something that plastic is worse at than humans, getting a job and going away when it's finished. Now, if we can just find something that would get rid of Nigel Farage.
See, I told you invertebrates were important.
Yeah, they are, absolutely.
Surely, based on that, the worm's got to win, isn't it?
Well, it depends whether that particular long worm that you talked about is getting in on the act.
Yeah.
If it's a long worm, that's a lot of plastic it could eat.
Fantastic. Nature always finds a way, doesn't it?
Gemma, we've not had much from you yet this week. What have you got for us?
Well, going on with nature always finding a way. This one takes us to the beautiful Solway Firth in Cumbria, where a remarkable conservation milestone has unfolded, one that hasn't happened since the Victorian era. For more than a century, ospreys, those striking fish-hunting birds of prey, were missing from England as breeding birds due to persecution and egg collecting. But nature is resilient, and with time, protection, and a lot of patience, ospreys began to return to the UK, starting with Scotland in the 1950s. Today, their population has grown to an estimated 316 breeding pairs across the country, a testament to decades of conservation work. And now something extraordinary is happening. At the RSPB Campfield Marsh Reserve in Cumbria, a pair of ospreys has successfully raised 3 chicks. According to the RSPB, the first time ospreys have ever bred on one of their reserves in England since Victorian times. The adult birds arrived in April and settled on a specially built nesting platform overlooking the wetlands. The male, known as Blue 571, was ringed in Dumfries back in 2021, while the female remains unringed and mysterious. Her age and origin unknown, but are believed to be first-time parents. Between the 30th of April and the 6th of May, the pair laid 3 eggs. Staff at the reserve watched anxiously through May, hoping for a successful batch. 3 healthy chicks emerged, later named Ash, Bowness Bobby and Bo, by enthusiastic local school children. By July, each chick was fitted with a leg ring to help track their future travels. They're expected to fledge this month, August 2026, spending a few weeks mastering the art of fishing before beginning their first migration to West Africa in September, a journey that takes 4 to 6 weeks. Site manager Mari McLaughlin summed up the excitement perfectly. We're incredibly excited to be the first RSPB reserve in England to host a pair of breeding ospreys. Ospreys are frequently site and partner faithful, so we're hoping to see more of them and their offspring in the future. This isn't just a win for one reserve, it's a symbol of what long-term conservation can achieve, from extinction as a breeding species to a thriving, expanding population. The osprey's comeback shows that when we protect nature, nature responds.
Excellent. Thank you, Gemma. That's not even all of your animal news for this week either, is it?
It's not.
There's
It's not.
more.
There is more. So the last story about the ospreys touched on good things happening in Scotland. This one is fully Scotland, where the quiet engineering idea is making a big difference for one of the country's most charismatic animals, the otter. If you've seen the story online about Scotland building special otter ledges under bridges, good news. It's true. And it's a wonderful example of how thoughtful design can help wildlife live safely alongside us. So what exactly are otter ledges? They're narrow walkways built inside culverts and under bridges, giving otters a safe, dry route to cross from one side of a river to the other, instead of being forced up onto busy roads where traffic accidents are the number one cause of non-natural otter deaths. These little pathways keep them tucked safely beneath the bridge. The idea came about as researchers noticed a pattern. Otters were often killed within just 50 metres of water bodies, where roads cut across their natural routes. As otter populations began recovering in the early 2000s, thanks to cleaner waterways, better fish stocks, and bans on harmful pesticides, conservationists and engineers realised they needed to help these animals complete their journeys without danger. Transport Scotland responded by making wildlife mitigation a standard part of new road and bridge designs. That includes underpasses, overbridges, mammal fencing, and yes, otter ledges. These features aren't just for otters either. They help badgers, pine martens, water voles, and other small mammals move safely through fragmented habitats. And the results? They're rather encouraging. Studies show that bridges equipped with safe passage features see fewer wildlife fatalities and better connectivity for animals that rely on riverbanks and riparian corridors. It's a simple idea with a big impact. As for the otters themselves, their story is one of recovery. After major declines in the late 20th century, Scotland's otter populations have been steadily bouncing back. Cleaner water, reduced pollution, and protective legislation have all helped, and now infrastructure designed with wildlife in mind is giving them an extra boost. So why is this story trending right now? Probably because it's exactly the kind of good news people love. A clever, almost secret solution hiding in plain sight, helping adorable animals to thrive. It's a reminder that even everyday structures like the bridges we drive over without a second thought can be designed with kindness. Scotland's otter ledges show that when we build with nature in mind, everyone benefits. The landscape stays connected, wildlife stays safe, and we get a heartwarming story to brighten our day.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gemma. I have to admit, when you pulled up otter ledges, I had no idea what you were talking about, but I love them.
Do you want
I'm
one?
glad I can surprise occasionally.
I don't know where I put an otter ledge, and actually, I don't really get many otters. I get a lot of bats.
If you had a ledge, maybe you'd get an otter lodger.
Maybe. What you think? All that's missing here is if I'm just lacking a ledge.
You do need a ledge, yeah.
Word. See what I can do. All right, let's wrap up the animal news with a story about our own species, humankind. Stu, you've got a story about an amazing human from history whose contribution got a little bit of extra recognition this week.
Yeah. So if you were to walk past 149 Ledbury Road this week in Notting Hill, you're now going to see a brand new blue plaque on the wall. It marks the home of a man named Asquith Xavier. Now, have you heard of him? Anyone?
I have not.
We should have heard of him. So back in the late 50s, Asquith moved to London from Dominica as part of the Windrush generation. He started working for British Railways the very next day, moving up from porter to train guard. But then in 1966, when he tried to transfer to Euston Station, he hit a wall. Management explicitly rejected him because of an unofficial rule banning non-white staff from higher paid roles. It just didn't sit right with him. He never set out to be a political activist, but as he told reporters outside his front door at the time, he just wanted a fair chance to do his job and support his family. But with the backing of his trade union, he fought back anyway. His case exposed the systematic colour bar operating across Britain's railways, and it worked. By July 1966, British Rail scrapped the policy, and months later, Asquith stepped onto the platform as Euston Station's first black guard. Just this week, his daughter and his granddaughter, they gathered in Notting Hill to unveil the English Heritage plaque commemorating that fight. Historian Howard Spencer noted, "This is a powerful reminder of how ordinary people can shift the dial simply by refusing to accept unfair barriers." So, next time you're passing through Euston, take a second to remember the work it took to get you there. Amazing man he is.
Love it. Great deal. It's some recognition
Nice.
deserved with a blue plaque. Actually, I was in Covent Garden not that long ago and saw a blue plaque on the side of a TGI's.
Okay, yes.
Saying that as a boy, Charles Dickens worked there.
Did he?
I didn't know he worked at TGI's.
I didn't know it'd been going that long, to be honest.
So,
Oh.
interesting stuff. It's amazing what you can learn from a blue plaque.
Well, that certainly changes the history of him, and maybe they should do a Christmas story about that, rather than the same one every year. Maybe we could
You know the plot by now.
We all know the plot by now, but perhaps we could have a Christmas story about him working in a busy
TGI's as a boy.
Busy TGI's as a boy over the Christmas period. You know, all the drunk tradesmen coming in for their fried chicken, and Charles Dickens manfully and boyfully feeding all these fat.
You see boyfully doing it. What does that mean?
Well, boyfully and manfully, boyishly.
Boyishly, okay.
Yeah.
Not boyfully, but boyishly.
Boyishly feeding all the fat trading tycoons of the day.
Well, look, there's a little project for you to get your teeth into, Steve.
Yeah, so
I expect to see that on our screens next Christmas.
TGI Christmas
TGI Christmas.
by Charles Dickens.
Could it stop Mrs. Brown's boys coming back for a second year?
Well, there's always hope.
Well, let's hope so, absolutely.
I mean, unless he obviously injures himself again. But we wouldn't want that.
We wouldn't want that.
We wouldn't want that. But it's nice to have the respite, isn't it?
Okay, we're going to wrap up the news section this week with another edition of our popular new feature.
Yes.
Remember when we told you about that thing?
Wow. Shall we dig out that jingle again?
Oh, yeah.
Remember when we told you about that thing?
Lovely. Now, a few episodes ago, we talked about the growing number of lawsuits being brought against some of the world's biggest social media companies over the damage their platforms may be doing to children. Well, you remember that thing? Yeah?
Well,
You remember
how
it?
could I not?
Well, it's still happening.
This is one of the threads, our regular threads.
It is a regular thread, and actually it's still happening, and it's got more interesting. Thousands of lawsuits against companies including Meta, TikTok, and Snapchat are now able to move forward after a US appeals court rejected attempts by Meta and TikTok to stop some of the cases before they even got properly started.
And breaking news started today, didn't it? The opening arguments have just begun.
And I have to stress, they have not been found guilty of anything here. These are allegations. The companies deny or contest, and the claims still have to be tested in court. But the companies have been arguing that a bit of American internet law called Section 230 protected them from being sued over some of the allegations. And the appeals court has basically said, yeah, Section 230 might ultimately help you to defend yourself, but it doesn't mean we won't let anyone sue you in the first place. So, I mean, it was a bit like them trying to turn up to court and saying, Your Honour, technically I might be innocent, and the judge saying, yeah, that's what the court is for. So thousands of cases can now continue, and the allegations are pretty serious. Families, cities, and states are accusing social media companies of designing platforms to encourage compulsive use, exposing children to harmful content, and failing to adequately verify users' ages. The companies, of course, dispute those allegations. But here's the bit that really caught my eye. In a separate bit of litigation, 4 US state attorneys general are seeking around $1.4 trillion in penalties from Meta. $1.4 trillion.
What?
That's not fun, is it? That's a number that Donald Trump makes up if someone upsets the stupid man, baby. The prosecutors are alleging that Meta knew about safety concerns while deliberately designing its platforms to encourage compulsive use and increase revenue. Again, their allegations haven't been proven at trial, but that's why getting these cases into court really matters, because the argument's not should social media companies be allowed to exist, it's what responsibility do you have for the way you've designed the thing? And that's a really interesting distinction that we've talked about on the show before. If you design a platform so that children keep coming back, and if your business model depends on keeping people scrolling, if your algorithms decide what they see next, at what point does we're just providing a platform stop being a convincing defence? Because if I built a vending machine that deliberately gives children sweets every time they press the button and then make the button increasingly difficult to stop pressing, I probably can't defend myself by saying technically the children chose the sweets. At some point, someone's going to ask why I built the bloody machine that way. And that's what these lawsuits could eventually force the technology companies to confront. And it brings us back to something we've talked about before on the show. We keep hearing that parents need to take responsibility for what their children do online, and obviously parents do have a role. But if the companies building the platforms have spent billions of dollars working out exactly how to keep people engaged, perhaps we shouldn't put the entire responsibility on a parent who's trying to get their 14-year-old to put their phone down and come downstairs for dinner, because that's one parent versus several $1 billion of behavioural science. And that's why I like this development. Not because we've suddenly discovered that Meta and TikTok are guilty. We haven't. But because they're going to have to answer the questions in court, under oath, with lawyers and evidence. Which is perhaps the one environment where trust as it's complicated just isn't going to cut it. So we told you about that thing once before. We're not finished with it yet. We'll be keeping a BDI on what happens next.
It's a case of the fight back begins, isn't it?
Well, that's
and similar echoes to that previous story about you can get a small group of people who can make a difference if you stand up. They're in court. It's probably not going to come to anything this time, but they are putting the argument out there around, is social media addictive and is it harmful to our children? It's a good question to ask.
Well, it's not even, is it addictive? It's, has it been deliberately designed to be addictive? And that, I think, is the really key part of it all, isn't it?
Jim,
Stu,
what about if I said to you, keep pumping?
I'm going to move just a little bit further away from it. I'd prefer it if you didn't say it again.
Gemma, what would you think if I said to you, keep pumping?
I'd be glad that I'm sat here and not where Jim is.
Well,
rightly.
This was the exact message, Hollywood icon Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that was my Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, you see. That was my keep pumping, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he sent a message to Mick Wadge, who is an 88-year-old British grandfather who's recently become a TikTok sensation for his weightlifting workouts. Mick Wadge from Laneshaw Bridge in Lancashire, he took up strength training following the death of his wife. He initially started lifting on his patio using a broom handle and a water-filled milk jug. Probably needed more than one milk jugs. Over the last few weeks, his personal trainer, Ross Starkey, he began posting his gym progress under the TikTok handle Old Man Mick. So check that out. Old Man Mick. His videos have quickly gained over 700,000 views and tens of thousands of likes. So Wadge, I like the way they always do that in these articles. Wadge, as though they're sort of really familiar. Let's call him Mick Wadge. So Mick Wadge regularly trains 3 times a week and he boasts an incredible personal best deadlift now of 100 kilograms. He's currently considering entering a formal powerlifting competition. What an incredible story, but also the health benefits of that. As we get older, our bones, don't they get weaker, more fragile, can improve your bone density by strength exercises. So there's a message really to us all. We should be powerlifting a bit more as we get older, getting stronger, so that when we do fall over, if we fall over, you'll know about this, dancing and so on, Gemma, then you're less likely to break bones, which can, in some cases, be quite fatal for the elderly. So there we are, Mick there leading the way, 88-year-old powerlifter, keep pumping, Mick.
Thanks, Stu. I think that's about all we've got time for this week. And what a selection we've had. We've had Nigel Farage proving that the best way to fight the establishment is apparently to become an MP, trigger your own by-election, and get the taxpayer to pay for it. We've discovered that some of the world's most stubborn plastics can potentially be turned into bug food. Stu's taken us through the top 10 invertebrates of the year, which is a sentence I never expected to say on a podcast. We've celebrated Asquith Xavier finally getting the blue plaque in London. We've heard about Scotland building otter ledges, and we've celebrated the return of ospreys to Britain. So I suppose the message from tonight's show is
Keep pumping.
not that, definitely not. It's that if you're a plastic bag, an otter, an osprey, an invertebrate, or a man who stood up to institutional racism in 1960s Britain, then things are looking up. If you're Nigel Farage, maybe not so much. To be fair, he did win, and we should probably lay off him. But to be accurate, over 25% of the voters preferred a man with a bin on his head. If you've enjoyed the show, please do all the usual things. Follow us, subscribe, leave us a review, tell someone about us. Send the episode to the one person you know who needs cheering up. Or, if you're feeling particularly generous, send it to someone who thinks the entire world's ending. Although don't tell them it's a good news podcast. We don't want to frighten them now, do we?
Well, breaking news before Jim wraps up. Haven't jumped in for a while, have I? But also you should check out our socials now for our new daily drop of Everything's Fine Probably Today video shorts, where you can see Jim picking best news story of the day. And you can get those on TikTok, YouTube, or even on Facebook stories or the Facebook feed. Take a listen to those if you really want to cheer your day up.
And careful not to get addicted. We'll be back next week. Attempting to put a smile on your chops. Until then, look after yourselves, look after each other. Stay cheerful, stay optimistic, and always remember that everything's fine. Probably.